Hello everyone and welcome back to One Piece. Today I'm going to be doing something that I don't tend to do these sorts of videos very often, and I'll talk about why. But today we are going to be doing an arc ranking video. Now I want to kind of make it clear, it's not an arc tier list, it's an arc ranking. And the reason that's very specific is I don't like tier lists that are like S, A, B, C, D, you know, like I don't like that, because I don't like saying like this arc is bad and this one is goated or whatever. The way that I prefer to do it, if I do it at all, is I say what order I like them in. You know, this is my favorite, this is my second favorite, etc. Because it doesn't say anything about the quality of the thing. It's just my enjoyment in comparison to each other. Now I'm gonna be going through and I'm gonna be going to each of these arcs and I'm gonna be like choosing, you know, where on the list it goes and moving them up and down the list until we have, you know, them all in order, and I'll talk about my reasonings for each one as we go through. So generally I'm not a big fan of doing this sort of thing because a lot of the time it sort of necessitates you talking about like the reasons you choose something over another thing, and like I don't like talking about stuff that I don't like, or that or like, you know, giving reasonings for, oh, this one should be towards the bottom of the list because of this or this or this. I don't tend to love doing it, and I don't tend to love watching people talk about that sort of stuff. So, but like, you know, I'm probably gonna talk more about the stuff that I like than the stuff that I don't like. But I think all of it's gonna come out in the wash. But I was talking about this to Sammy on the live stream that we did. So if you want to go check out the live stream on my channel, go to the live tab and you can see myself and Sammy, who's another YouTuber who also does One Piece reactions. The two of us talked about One Piece for hours and hours and hours. And during that time, I was talking about, like, he was asking me about certain arcs or whatever, and what my favorite arcs were, and I told him, and he was like, "Oh, you should make an arc ranking video, because people would be very curious about that." I just dropped something, ignore it. And I feel like if you watch my videos, you might have a decent idea of where these will end up anyway. But the thing is, like, I feel like with a lot of these sorts of videos, people tend to just like jump to the end and see what the final list looks like, right? And I understand why you would do that, but also, like, I want it to be clear, just because something's near the bottom of the list or whatever doesn't mean I hate it, doesn't mean I think it's bad, doesn't mean anything, you know? Sometimes it might even be like, I think this is a good arc, it's just not really for me, or I just like all of these arcs so much more. Some of these arcs, I might say, I think this arc is awesome, and yet it's still really far down. Now, I haven't really thought ahead of time about where I'm putting everything. We're gonna figure it out live. We're gonna do it right now. So everything is going to start. I'm just gonna put it on the list one at a time. And so at the start, we're gonna start with Romance Dawn. Romance Dawn is gonna start at number 1 because there's only one thing on the list. I'm not gonna be like, oh, Romance Dawn's 21 and then put everything around it. Everything's gonna start early. I'm just gonna rank it in comparison to everything that's on there so far. So Romance Dawn already is number 1. So Romance Dawn would be all the intro stuff, the Luffy flashback, and the Zoro stuff, because Orange Town is Buggy's town, right? So so that's the Zoro. It's the Zoro stuff is in Romance Dawn. So Romance Dawn's a good introduction. I think it's really solid. Next up we have Orange Town. So this is where we're actually going to start comparing. So obviously all the way to the left means higher ranking, all the way to the right means lower ranking. So Orange Town, I think I'm putting below Romance Dawn. Romance Dawn had the Luffy flashback. It had meeting Zoro. We don't get introduced to Nami into Orange Town, I don't think. Well, we see Nami a bit in Romance Dawn with like Alvida's ship and stuff. So we see a little bit of her. Obviously that's gonna I'm gonna take when Nami's in it into account. But yeah, I mean, Romance Dawn, I think overall is a pretty solid introduction. Orange Town focuses obviously a lot on Buggy, and I'm not as huge a Buggy fan in general. Although it does have the like Shushu, is that what his name is? The dog stuff, which is very interesting. But I think Luffy's backstory it makes Romance Dawn kind of more worth it. So so that's why, yeah, Romance Dawn will be up high. Syrup Village. I think for me, I think I really liked Syrup Village at the time. Like, I know for some people, I think some people say that Syrup Village is like the worst One Piece arc or like one of the worst ones. But I think at the time, like if you went and watched my reactions, Syrup Village was like, you started to see me get engaged in it. I liked the introduction of Luffy, not Luffy, Usopp. I loved Kaya very much, and I got very attached to Kaya. I fell for the Klahadore twist pretty hard, so like that twist really hit me. Now the bits in the middle of, or like, you know, the bits of them like fighting on the ramp or whatever, I guess aren't absolutely amazing. They're dragged out a bit and stuff, but I still think overall I feel like the story kind of was interesting to me. Although maybe Romance Dawn goes ahead. Oh, God. Maybe Romance Dawn is just a little bit ahead. And then we have Baratier. I think Baratier, it's really difficult, man. I think Baratier goes here, cause like I think I preferred Kuro as a villain to Krieg, and I think, God, the thing about Baratier, like the thing that's really special about Baratier is the introduction of Sanji and Sanji saying goodbye to Zeph, right? And the backstory, I guess. I guess there's a decent amount of good stuff. Maybe Baratier goes above Syrup Village. God. Yeah, for now, let's do that. Maybe I'll change it later. It's already very difficult, man. Arlong Park is the best of the first 5. That's an easy choice. Nami focused arc. Arlong's a great villain. Yeah, I think that's a very easy choice for me, is to put Arlong Park at the number 1 of the first 5 arcs. I mean, obviously episode 37 is like incredible, and it really hits. So that's great stuff. So that's almost all of the East Blue except for Logetown, which I think Logetown goes second. I think Logetown is an excellent arc. It really works nicely. It's very short, but it works well. And the good thing is, I've rewatched all of these arcs relatively recently, like within the last year. So I know it's pretty fresh on my mind how I feel about a lot of these arcs. And I think Logetown, yeah, it feels like it's at number 2 for me. So yeah, this is the whole East Blue. This is my current thoughts on the East Blue. And yeah, I think most people are gonna have Arlong Park at number 1 from the East Blue. Maybe Logetown. But who knows? Some people might have specific feelings for certain things. Okay, so now moving on to the Grand Line stuff. We have Reverse Mountain. It's barely an arc. Oh, I guess it's got all the inside Laboon stuff. I mean, I guess that's like pretty good. Because it introduces Miss Wednesday. And it's like, and it's exciting, and like obviously the Laboon stuff, and the like explanation of the Grand Line, like how all of that plays out, is very exciting to me. Yeah, I think maybe just above the Baratier is a good spot for it, I think. So next up is Whiskey Peak. Now Whiskey Peak is probably second, I think. Whiskey Peak is real good. Hello, I'm trying to, there we go. I like, yeah, because I've rewatched Whiskey Peak very recently. I think it's pretty fantastic. Yeah, because it's got like the Zoro vs Bounty Hunter stuff. It's got the introduction of Vivi being Princess Vivi. It's got like, you know, the introduction of a lot of the Baroque Works villains. It's got episode, what is it, 67 or something? thing. It was the episode that introduces Missile Sunday and the explosion of what's his name? The explosion of his boat. So yeah, I kind of love that arc. I'm actually kind of thinking like whether that goes higher than Arlong Park, but I don't think, not quite, but almost. Little Garden, I think Little Garden's like maybe here-ish, like right before, like higher than Reverse Mountain, before Romance Dawn, somewhere in that zone feels appropriate to me, where it's like, yeah, the I really like a lot of the stuff that happens in it. Some of the stuff, you know, like Mr. 3, I don't care about that much as a villain, but at the time, it's like, it's a, you know, fine enough villain. There's some cool shit there. I love Dorian Broggy. And yeah, it's a decent little like transition arc at the very least. And then obviously it's becoming more and more important the closer we get to Elbaf. So yeah, I like it. Drum Island, I think, is probably maybe above Romance Dawn, before Log Town? Maybe? Or maybe it's before Romance Dawn. It's really tough. I think it's maybe above. Yeah, I think it's above, because you have like some cool like VV leadership morals. You have the introduction of Chopper. You have Chopper's backstory. You have that finale of Chopper crying and as the things come down. There's some pretty incredible stuff in Drum Island. Yeah, I think it feels appropriate to put it right above Romance Dawn. Next up is Alabasta. Okay, I think Alabasta could be the best one so far. Now there are bits. Okay, all right. There are bits in Alabasta that I think like aren't the best that One Piece has to offer. Like, you know, they're walking through the desert for a long time. I didn't find particularly compelling and stuff like that. But I think overall it just like hits on a lot of different levels, and there's a lot of really interesting, intriguing stuff going on. And it's like sort of our first taste of like One Piece having a big story to it, you know? And I think that alone is very special to me. Like the idea of like, oh, this is like a huge story we're tackling right here. So I think like, and Crocodile is a fantastic fucking villain. Like he's our first introduction to like, oh, he is how dangerous One Piece villains can actually be, and he's pretty fucking dangerous, and he's very scary, and like, yeah, I think that was all like really well done. So I liked that a lot. I'm gonna pause it real quick to check something. Okay, never mind. I got a ping that I thought was important, but it wasn't. So yeah, Alabasta right now is at number 1, and I feel like that's appropriate. Because Alabasta, oh my god, Alabasta also, because I was thinking like, with Arlong Park, I keep thinking about the Nami moment, the Luffy help me line, right? But with Alabasta, we have Vivi's Goodbye, which Vivi's Goodbye is one of my favorite moments in the entire fucking show. It's my notebook is Vivi's Goodbye. Like, I love that moment. So yeah, number 1 for that moment alone, genuinely. Jaya. I think Jaya is alright, but I don't think it's amazing. I think maybe it goes here. Like, I think it's, you know, it's pretty good. It complements Skypiea decently. But yeah, I don't know. There's not really many memorable things in Jaya for me. I mean, I'm thinking about him beating up Bellamy or whatever. But yeah, just for me, I mean, when I think back to that point in the show, I remember Skypiea moments, but I don't really think about too many Jaya moments. So I think Jaya being like just above Baratie before Reverse Mountain, like it's a well-written arc. It's just there's not a crazy amount happens. Now Skypiea, okay. So here's the thing about Skypiea. I think Skypiea is a brilliant arc. But but I'm also comparing it to every other arc right now. And this is why I struggle with ranking videos, because Skypiea, I feel like, is an excellent arc. And if it was another TV show, like I think Skypiea like might be a higher tier arc. But if I'm thinking about it, like, do I like it more than Whiskey Peak? Do I like it more than Arlong Park? Do I like it more than Logtown? Like, I don't really think of myself as liking it more than those, even though I think it's really well done. And I'm gonna have this problem again with a later arc. But I think with Skypiea, like, people who say it's a bad arc or that it's boring or to skip it, I don't agree with those people at all. However, it also isn't going to be super high on my list. It's higher than Jaya for sure. I think it's higher than Reverse Mountain. I think it's higher than Little Garden. I think it's higher than Romance Dawn. But then that might be it. I think, like, before Drum Island, higher than Romance Dawn. I think that's an appropriate place for it. So right now it's higher up than I expected it to be, but we got a lot of arcs to go through. So it's going to be being bumped down. I'm telling you that right now. Long Ring Longland. This is genuinely difficult for me because I actually kind of love Long Ring Longland. I think it's a lot of fun, and I like even the anime additions to it and stuff. I just think it's really fun. And also, I have such a special place in my heart for Long Ring Longland because that was when the show first went HD. And when it went HD, it blew my mind. I felt like I was watching it come to life more. And that was very special to me. So I think Long Ring Longland is like between Reverse Mountain and Little Garden. Like, I would put it there. And now people are going to be like, wait, you put Long Ring Longland higher than Reverse Mountain, Jaya, Baratie? You know, like, I'm sure people are going to be not happy about it. But for me, I think it's an appropriate place for it. Okay, now here I have a problem with this, right? A lot of people separate Water 7, Enies Lobby, and Post-Enies Lobby, which I understand why you would separate them in a way. Like, I get it. But at the same time, I don't like it. Because to me, like, Water 7 is the start of it. Enies Lobby is the climax. Post-Enies Lobby, I barely consider that an arc. Like, there's a post of all of these arcs, you know? Like, we don't have post-Thriller Bark, post-Wano, post-Amazon Lily. But Enies Lobby, the reason they have to put post-Enies Lobby as its own thing is because Enies Lobby has to only cover when they're in Enies Lobby itself. So when they leave Enies Lobby, there's like a whole other section there. So what I'm going to do, I'm categorizing all of these as Water 7. Because to me, it feels unfair. I mean, it's kind of the same as Jaya. Like, but I just feel like it's kind of unfair to say, like, Water 7 is this good of an arc and Enies Lobby is... Because Water 7's setting up what Enies Lobby is. Enies Lobby doesn't happen without Water 7 happening. And I just feel like if I was to rate it and put, like, Enies Lobby higher, I don't think that's right. I wouldn't think it was right to put Water 7 higher either. So all of them, I'm not putting Enies Lobby or Post-Enies Lobby in here. I'm purely doing Water 7. Water 7's number 1. Easiest choice of my life. Water 7 is fucking incredible. Absolutely incredible. Almost everything about Water 7 is perfect to me. I'm sure there are a few tiny little problems that I have with it. I think in Enies Lobby, some of the bits of Luffy going through Enies Lobby just fighting random people, or some of the battles are like a tiny bit stretched out, you know. There's some small things that I have a problem with, but overall, Water 7 is like an excellent arc from start to finish. It has some of the best character writing in the entire series, which is saying something because it gets to be really good. But I absolutely love Water 7. I mean, all of the Usopp character arc, the Going Mary storyline, the Nico Robin character arc that she has to go through, the Luffy character arc of like having to learn to be strong to be able to protect your friends. Everything comes together so incredibly in that arc. I love it. So, and the Frankie, like, starting off hating Frankie and by the end you absolutely adore him. Like, all of that is so impressive to me. I think it's just one of the greatest things Oda's ever done. Next up is Thriller Bark. Thriller Bark is... it's high highs and low lows, I think. Like, Thriller Bark has Perina. And I love Perina. I love her so much. And, like, the Perina vs. Usopp fight is one of my favorite, like, side fights in the entire series. I love that. Some of the ideas behind it are very cool. And the ending with Kuma and nothing happened is fucking incredible. Like, it's an incredible ending to the arc. But then, like, I don't care that much about Moria as a villain. I hate Absalom. Absalom's, like, the worst character that Oda's ever created. Like, a lot of the side villains in that, I don't like. I like Hogback. Like, I like him because I hate him, but I also, like, I find him compelling to hate. I don't find Absalom compelling to hate. I like real Lola. I didn't like Boar Lola, you know? Like, so there's, like, this, it's so conflicting to me, Thriller Bark. And I love Brook. I think Thriller Bark goes here-ish. Right below Skypiea, right above Romance Dawn. I think that's a decent place to put it. I think. That feels appropriate. Because there's some things, I think it could be one of my least favorite arcs if it didn't have some of the highest highs possible. All the Kuma stuff, all the Perina stuff. Like, some of the Hogback stuff, those are, like, really high highs. But, like, I didn't care that much about Oars, you know? Like, that, I don't think that's a super compelling villain. Lots of other stuff like that. Anyway. So that's that. Alright, next is the Shabondi Archipelago arc. I think this is number 2 right now. I think that arc was so incredibly good. It's so short, but, like... we introduced the supernovas there, which was an incredible scene. We get so much lore about the world, right? We meet Rayleigh. We have the what are they called? The Celestial Dragons and Luffy punching Sharlos. Like, that's such a hype, incredible moment. And then we have the ending to the Shabondi arc, which is just such an amazing moment. So, like, I don't know. I think it can go no lower than number 2 right now. It's so amazing. Amazon Lily. I'm trying to remember what even happens in Amazon Lily. So he arrives there. They think his dick is a mushroom. He's locked up. He falls through the roof or whatever, meets Boa Hancock, has to do the Colosseum fight, saves some people, wins them over, she falls in love with Luffy, and then they set off to Impel Down, right? So, I like it because it's an island of women, and I love women. I like Boa Hancock. Not a crazy amount happens. I think it's like maybe here-ish. I put it higher than Jaya. But, like, yeah, there's not a crazy amount that happens there, I don't think. So I think between Jaya and Reverse Mountain feels appropriate. Okay, Impel Down. Impel Down is a very complicated one. I know a lot of people really like Impel Down, and that there's some, like, great stuff in Impel Down. I think Impel Down is one that there might be the biggest gulf between my opinion of the arc and everyone else's. And I think it's because it unfortunately just hits so many of the things that Oda really likes and that some of the fan base really like, but I'm not a big fan of. Some things like Buggy. Now, I like as the show has gone on, I've liked Buggy more and more and more, right? Like, at this point in the show, where we're up to right now, post Egghead, I think I like Buggy as a character. I like him. But I think it's taken me so long to warm up to him, and even now, he's not anywhere near any of my favorite characters. I just think he's alright, you know. But like obviously part of Impel Down is like trying to get you to like enjoy Buggy's time on screen and Mr. Three's time on screen and Bon Clay's time on screen. I like Bon Clay's my favorite out of those guys. But overall, I think Impel Down didn't have a ton that I was super interested in. I loved Magellan as kind of like a villain. I really liked him. And it's cool when Blackbeard comes in towards the end. I don't think it's so cool that it justifies it being a super high arc for me. Like and also the fact that like, you know, we're either fighting like random mobs or we're fighting those like failed awakened Zoan things. And like if you've seen my channel, you see me talk about like I don't like just like characters that are just big animals or monsters or anything like that. Like I prefer us to fight like more human enemies. So like that wasn't as interesting to me. I think overall Impel Down has some cool stuff, but I actually think it's one of the lower tier arcs for me. Just to, like in terms of my tastes. Like I'd put it just above Jaya, I think. I think that's where I'd put it. I think I'd put it just above Jaya, right below Amazon Lily. And I mean, Amazon Lily only wins out there because it's full of women and because it has Aphalandra in it. Like if that wasn't the case, it would probably be lower. But anyway, Marineford though, holy shit, dude, Marineford is incredible. I think Marineford's probably going to be 3 right now. I think I'd put it below Shabondi. But yeah, I think 3 feels appropriate. And I don't even think I need to justify that. I think people know why Marineford is so good. It's so obviously good, you know, because it's like it's the climax of something so incredible and so important. So I think that's awesome. Post-war is difficult because post-war would be Luffy grieving and Luffy's flashback. Now the flashback I think is solid, but I don't have too many affections for it overall. Like I don't think it's good enough to be like super high on my list. Now, Luffy counting his crew and saying I still have my crew is one of the best moments in the entire series. So that bumps it up, for sure. I just realized I've got Impel Down lower than Long Ring Longland. People are gonna hate that, man. People are gonna fucking hate that. But I can't make my decisions based on what people like or hate. I can't do it. I'm going off of like what I feel. And that was the spot that I felt like it was put in. No, hang on, but okay, I'm rearranging. I think Reverse Mountain should be lower. But now it's really obvious that okay, no, you're right. Long Ring Longland is lower than Impel Down. But it's not high. These aren't higher than Little Garden for me. I think that's appropriate. I figured it out. This is the thing. I didn't think of where I was gonna put stuff beforehand. I'm not just like placing them in randomly. I'm thinking about it. Anyway, post-war, I think post-war goes, I think maybe just here, I think, and like, I think it gets bumped up a lot from that moment of Luffy saying, I still have my crew. I think if it wasn't for that, I think I'd put it maybe down 1, maybe down 2, I'm not sure. Yeah. Now the return to Shabondi. This is when we first get the time skip. That's really fun. It's a very short arc, but it's really fun. I think that goes like 6. I think that goes 7. Yeah. I think that goes like right after Whiskey Peak. I think that feels like a good spot to put it. It's like it's really exciting to have this moment of them all coming back together. You know, the villains of that arc aren't anything special. We're just fighting this fake Straw Hats or whatever. But it was really hype, you know? So that's pretty great. I just realized post-war also has the Straw Hats, like, you know, I guess checking in on the Straw Hats happens all throughout that saga, but it has like the conclusion of it. But I think that's still an appropriate place for it. Fishman Island. Okay. This one's a hard one. This is another situation like Skypiea, right? Where it's like people shit on Fishman Island, but then also a whole other group of people, like, you know, there's always a swing and a counter swing, right? There's like, oh, everyone hates Fishman Island, and then suddenly it's like swinging back to the other side of like people saying, actually, Fishman Island's absolutely incredible, and it like swings back and forth, right? Where it could just be like somewhere it's like an okay arc, but because some people hate it so much, other people love it so much, and because some people love it so much, other people hate it so much, you know? Now, I remember when I was watching One Piece, when I got up to the time skip, I was like at bowling with some friends, and like there was a friend of a friend there, someone I hadn't really spoken to before. And he said like, oh, you watch One Piece? And I said, yeah, I'm just past the time skip just now. And he's like, oh, so you're going into Fishman Island. Man, that arc is the worst. That arc sucks. And I went, oh, interesting, okay. But I didn't really take, I don't really take other people's opinions on media at all. So I didn't really let it affect me at all. And then I watched Fishman Island arc and I was like, that does not suck. That's a solid arc. There's some stuff in Fishman Island that I think's awesome. I love Shirahoshi. I love Neptune. I love the Fisher Tiger backstory. I love the Otahime stuff. I'm talking myself into it. And I think the arc has some incredible themes. The themes of the arc are so well written, it's amazing. It's really kind of just like I guess the shonen-y bits that aren't as interesting, right? Like the action, the fights. Like those things are the main things that aren't as interesting. Like the villains, like Van de Decken, like I forget Van de Decken exists so much of the time. Like that's not an interesting villain. And I like the idea of Haughty Jones. And in fact, I kind of like him. Just because I think the like, you know, what did humans do to you or whatever? And he says nothing. I think that's an awesome moment. I think, like, I loved the themes of that arc. So I think it goes... God. The more I think about it, the more I like it. I think it goes here. Higher than post-war. And I mean, I think, like, I wanna specify, I think Fishman Island goes here because, like, I think the flashbacks in Fishman Island help with that a lot. I think the flashbacks really, really assist that arc. But also, I just love some of the characters in that arc. I think some of the characters and character designs and everything are pretty awesome. So I'm gonna put it there. Punk Hazard. Oh, this is a really hard one. I think Punk Hazard's pretty good. I feel like I'm putting a lot of the stuff in the same-ish area right now. But, like, I think Punk Hazard is pretty good. Oh, man. I think I'd maybe slot it here-ish. I can't tell you the reasoning. I'm going off of my own vibes here. I don't know exactly the reasoning that I put it there. I think it's just a solid arc. I think Monet, no, you know what? Monet and Mocha, those are big reasons for it. The ending's solid. Caesar Clown's like fine. He's fine as a villain, not super interesting. But like the lore stuff is good. The body switching stuff is funny. I think I'm putting it higher. I think it's higher than Romance Dawn. Yeah. Is it higher than Thriller Bark? No, because that's got Perina stuff and the Kuma stuff. So yeah, no. I think there is a good place to put it for me. Dressrosa. I think Dressrosa goes. God, I think Dressrosa is really good. I think Dressrosa goes here. Now, Dressrosa, again, high highs and low lows. I mean, that's kind of the thing for this series. But, like, Dressrosa's highs are incredible. Like, fourth gear, a lot of the stuff with Rebecca and her father, Doflamingo as a villain in general. Some of the fights are really awesome. Usopp, like, firing the thing to take down Sugar from afar. The ending to Dressrosa, like, Fujitora, everything Fujitora related. Sabo coming back and Sabo getting the fruit. Like, there's so much stuff that's incredible. Yeah, I think it's there. I think it's right under Alabasta for me. In terms of how much I like that. I think that's an incredible arc. Now, obviously, the bad things are like the pacing. The pacing is a major problem with it. And yeah, some of the bits in the middle, like, even if not taking into account the anime stuff, even just the story beats sometimes in the middle drag a little bit, but still very good. The Zoe arc, I think, is fantastic. I think the Zoe arc goes here. I think the Zoe arc is awesome. I know, like, some people don't care about Jack as a villain or whatever, but I think, like, it's a very short arc, and I think everything it sets out to do, it does incredibly. I think it introduces a great world full of interesting characters. I think you have a villain that is despicable and that is very frustrating. I think you have the Sanji reveal of his name and setting up the next arc in a really interesting way. I think all of that works so nicely. And then the Raizo is safe scene, perfect, absolutely perfect. So I think the Zoe arc goes there, and I'm quite happy with that. So next up, I know I have to, like, constantly rearrange everything, but we have 4 left. Oh wow, it's gonna fit perfectly. Next up is Whole Cake Island, which is really tough. Maybe it's not that tough. I think it goes between Zoe and Alabasta. I think Whole Cake Island is awesome. It's maybe a little bit longer than it needs to be. Just a little bit. But it's really, really good. And I think it's got some great characters. I think Pudding's amazing. I think the Sanji, all the Sanji stuff is awesome. It's really, really well done. I think it hits. Maybe it's lower than Alabasta, though. Yeah, I think it's lower than Alabasta, but higher than Dressrosa. I think that's appropriate. Big Mom's a solid villain. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that position for it. Okay, next up we have the Reverie. Whoa, the Reverie. That's interesting. I think the Reverie goes, like, after Return to Shabondi. Like, it goes, or after Whiskey Peak before Return to Shabondi. I think that's a decent place. I don't think there's too much justification for that. That's more of a vibe place. Because I really like the Reverie, but also, I mean, that's just their excuse to, like, put in a ton of recap and other stuff, right? But it's really cool. We find out more about what actually happened at the Reverie and the real juice behind it during Egghead. So yeah, that's where the Reverie goes, I think. Now, the final 2 arcs, Wano and Egghead. Wano, I think, goes here, between Shabondi and Marineford. I think that's where Wano goes. I think Wano is excellent, absolutely incredible, and the climaxes in Wano are like nothing else. Like, they are absolutely incredible. It's also extremely long, so you have to take into account the fact that there's a lot of episodes, not that aren't good, but that are, like, a lot less interesting and just setups, right? It is another one of those arcs that could be cut down quite a lot, but like, it is so good when it, like, it just feels so good when it hits, you know? It makes it worth it by the end. All of the setup that it did, it does feel worth it. So I think it goes at number 3 here, but it's immediately going to be moving to number 4 because Egghead Island, I think, is number 2. Now, this might be recency bias. Absolutely could be. It absolutely could be recency bias. But I think Egghead Island was so incredible. So incredible. I think it hit on every level. It hit on the emotional level. The Bonnie and Kuma stuff hits on the emotional level really well. On the character design level, all of the Vegapunks have incredible character designs. On the story level, it really ties in an awesome story. And the world building level, we get to see what's happening throughout the entire world. The pacing is pretty good, honestly, for One Piece. For another show, it might be a little bit slow. Well, even for another show, I don't know if it'd be that slow. There's certain bits that are kind of slow, but for the most part, it keeps a pretty solid pace. The animation is absolutely fucking phenomenal. I think Egghead's got to be number 2. The more I talk about it, the more I realize, like, it's shocking if not number 1, but I think Water 7 has always held a special place in my heart, and it's really hard to budge that. But, like, overall, I think this is my list. So we have Water 7, Egghead Island, Shabondi, Wano, Marineford, Zoe, Alabasta, Whole Cake Island, Dressrosa, Arlong Park, Whiskey Peak, Reverie, Return to Shabondi, Logetown, Drum Island, Skypiea, Thriller Bark, Punk Hazard, Romance Dawn, Little Garden. I'm going through these to also double check them. Fishman Island, Post-War, Amazon Lily, Impel Down, Long Ring Longland, Reverse Mountain, Jaya, Baratier, Syrup Village, Orange Town. Is Orange Town my least favorite arc? Is it? It introduces us to, like, that. Now I have to, because, like, whatever people see as my least favorite arc is going to always be remembered as, like, this was his least favorite arc. But is it my least favorite arc? I think so. It has to be. It has to be. It was, like, really early on. Yeah, it's gotta be. It's gotta be. I think it would be Baratier if the Sanji stuff wasn't happening in Baratier. But, like, and by the Sanji stuff, I mean, like, him and Zeph, their relationship. If that wasn't in Baratier, then that would probably be the lowest. And then, obviously, like, almost all of the filler would be below Orange Town. Or, like, maybe just above Orange Town. So, like, it would all be pretty low. So, yeah, overall, that is my final arc tier list. So, thank you very much for watching. 41 minutes, wow. Crazy how much you can talk about when just putting them in order. But thank you so much for watching. What are your favorite arcs? Tell me in the comments below. Make sure to support the video if you can, liking, commenting, and subscribing. And go to my Patreon account for full-length early access and exclusive videos. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.